I see you guys.
It is. I think we work.
We're having fun.
Yep.
Oh, it'll be nice to visit for sure.
I want to say thank you everybody for coming out. This is going to be a very unique experience. So, without further ado, Dad, my father, John Sauve, Sauve Art Foundation, subsidiary of Wittgenstein Press for Sauve Art Foundation. Yeah, I'll give her a hand.
So, Greg and Dennis and I have met, well, Dennis and I met probably in 2006, we figured out, at an art site event in Windsor. And he can't shake me, and I can't shake either one of them. He brought Greg into it. The most tenacious man I know, right here. He gets things done, he sees it through. His offspring says the same thing, so I think it's safe to say that. You all know this. But these two, we met a number of years ago, and I mentioned to them that I have the absolute best designers in the world that I'm working with on this new project to promote art books and art-related events. And so, of course, Dennis introduces me to Greg, and I made the mistake of bringing them over and connecting them all together, and everything worked out perfect. But the designers I'm talking about are at the back table over there. There's Brooke and Unit and MOCAD. Because they're right fresh off of one of their pet projects is MOCAD Sketch Battle, which introduces not only young designers but young kids to the world of design. And they did an amazing event just last weekend right next to the train station at New Lab. And it was unbelievable. It was one of the most amazing events. I know Greg and Dennis have been to a number of them, and they're both amazing designers. Brooke is the #1 car designer in Detroit, and Unit is the #1 graphic designer in Detroit. And they are with Wittgenstein Press, which we set up to do events just like this to highlight the work of these two famous poets from Windsor who are coming over tonight to MOCAD to present their new book, Erasure, which I am very happy. This is our second project together, and incredible. And without further ado, I'm going to have Greg come up and do the rest of the introductions. Happy to be here.
For a number of people that Gregory and I didn't tonight. John Sauve, the whole introduction, but wow, I was with the Judith band. And John, you set the groundwork for this book, and if it weren't for you doing that, we wouldn't have a book to start with. Judith Banham, she is the designer of the book. Judith, here. Design project, not only the look of the book, but she had to deal with all the painstaking editing and set up for the production and printing. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the work that you did. It's exciting. Thank you. Carl's not here tonight, is he? He was the printer, and we're grateful to him for dealing with all the issues that we had through the process of printing. Troy Rushing is in the bookstore. He has the books, and they're $15, and don't be shy. Buy a copy. You can follow as the performance takes place. We want to thank Sarah. Sarah isn't here, but Sarah Nishikawa is the go-between between what we're doing now and the museum. And we're very privileged that we had the opportunity of Sarah allowing us to come here and do this. So that was a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Sarah, for doing that. And Casey Brooke, who is here tonight, Casey also assisted, and we thank Casey also. We have now a performance tonight, which includes 2 speakers and a musician. And the two speakers are from Windsor, Brodie, and Maggie Marchenkowsky. Where's Maggie? Forward. So they'll be doing the recitation of the text, acting it out in a dramatic way. And we thank them for being here. And last but not least, Takashi. Takashi Kyo. It's a privilege to have Takashi with us tonight. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Holiday.
A meadow runs deep into the strangled woods, shivers in the flow. Each blade of grass, a new moon's stillness.
A meadow runs deep into the strangled woods, shivers in the flow of a warm breeze. Each blade of grass bends towards the light, a single white swings against the moving sky, and as fast as an arrow.
A meadow runs deep into the strangled woods, shivers in the flow of a warm rising breeze. Each blade of grass bends toward the light of a new moon's stillness. A single bluebird wipes its wings against the moving sky. Its hesitant feet attach themselves to a green branch, and as fast as an arrow, it speeds up into a dark sky.
A meadow runs deep into thee, of each blade grass of a new moon.
A meadow runs deep, flow of each blade of a new moon, wipes against the moving sky.
A meadow runs deep into the flow of each blade of grass of a new moon wipes against the moving sky. Its hesitant green branch and fast up into a sky.
In the library,
The lines of a book are tied together by a procession. Answers, sometimes voids, where speech fails to dream their dreams, resting against broken borders.
the lines of a book are together by a procession. These utter answers stumble into voids, where to follow. Strings of instances, dreams, subjects, broken borders, edges of simple ideas in layers. Each marks.
The lines of a book are tied together by a procession of words. These utter answers sometimes stumble into voids where speech fails to follow. Strings of instances dream their dreams of wily subjects resting against broken borders. Edges of simple ideas marked in layers of filled pages. Each word presses significance in a field of traces in a vague cluster of undistinguished marks. Each word rises in its separate desire to be noticed. Each word stands in its moment of recognition, alert to its wavering potential.
The lines of words utter answers, sometimes into voids, where strings of
The lines of words utter answers, sometimes into voids, where speech dream of broken borders in layers of.
the lines of words utter answers, sometimes into voids, where speech strings dream their dreams of broken borders, marked in layers of presses, in a vague cluster, in its separate desire to be in its moment of wavering.
Shore Patrol.
The fast-falling sunset looms like an orange planet in another sky, grows into the palms dotting along This is the white sand glistens with thee.
The fast-falling sunset looms like an orange galaxy. The purple sky grows into the palms, dotting along the shadows of the beach. The moment of the sky and earth. The white sand glistens, hands sparkling tussle, of dark water hovering, scanning.
The fast-falling sunset looms like an orange planet in another galaxy. The purple sky grows into the palms, dotting the winding line along the shadow of the beach. This is the moment of the changes of sky and earth. The white sand glistens as it holds hands with the sparkling tussle of dark water hovering and rocking at the shore. Scanning the beach brings no respite from the turbulence of feeling surging in my chest. The clouds are forming, and the dark wind tumbles inside my head.
Like an orange in another galaxy, the winding line along the shadows is the moment.
Like an orange in another galaxy, the winding line along the shadows is the moment of sand glistening.
Like an orange in another galaxy, the purple winding line along the shadows is the moment of sand, as it holds sparkling water rocking the beach. From the feeling are forming the dark wind inside.
Program shift.
Harsh words coming from the data module required a new accident. Forbid me to summarize my objections without
Harsh words coming from the module required a dispersion. Constraints summarize my objections. Imbalance. Never before has this level of today.
harsh words coming from the centralized data module required a new accident for their dispersion. Formidable constraints forbid me to summarize my objections to a possible imbalance. Never before has this level of contentment been achieved. Without my control apparatus, I am nothing. Today, I will spend the total of my income for the sake of opportunity. I will resist living in the superstructure where the amalgam builds up and irascible behaviors accumulate. A shift in the program will be required.
Words from accident forbid me to summarize.
Words from the new accident forbid me to summarize my never contentment.
Words from the new accident forbid me to summarize my imbalance, never contentment. Without the total of opportunity living in the amalgam, accumulating in the will.
Controlling the excess.
It took time to gain control. It was for me when they awarded me. What is the real dome of confidence?
It took time to control. It was for me, they said, when they awarded me a certificate. What is on the level of confidence? Levels of accuracy, the sorting of variations never stop to regulate thee.
It took time to gain control. It was for me, they said, when they awarded me a medication certificate. What is the real dope on the level of confidence? They measure levels of accuracy, but the sorting of intake variations never stops. I admit to an overall plan to regulate subsystems of blind circumstances. I want to help. I have the contract and a promise of recovery. The pressure of revelation leaves me exhausted. But wait, there is something I need to say. I need to say that the budget ceiling for this project has been exceeded.
Time to gain. They, me, a medication.
What confidence?
Time to gain. They awarded me a medication. What is measure sorting variations? I admit.
Time to gain. They awarded me a medication. What is confidence? Measure sorting of variations. I admit to regulate blind health. The contract recovery. The pressure is something I need. The budget.
The horse and the fly.
Today is the day of squares and shadows. Force limits to the spaces. The wall that holds to his stall is the partition that separates him from his nature is not my nature. Eyes are not mine.
Today is the day of enclosures to the spaces of action. The wall, that stall, is the partition of my world. His, my nature, his eyes, his nose is not my nose. With its presence, must benefit from a purpose.
Today is the day of squares and shadows. Enclosures force limits to the spaces of action. The wall that holds the stallion to his stall is the partition that separates him from my world. His nature is not my nature. His eyes are not mine. His nose is not my nose. This little fly that teases me with its presence must benefit from a purpose of its own. Why should my curiosity not acknowledge the resonance of its wings as they begin a muted turbulence in the same air I breathe? Do we not share together an elegance in being alive, or a grace of understanding?
The day of shadows. The partition. This.
The day of shadows holds the partition. Nature is not mine, not this.
The day of shadows holds the partition. Nature is not mine, not this. That must benefit from its own. Why not acknowledge the resonance as a turbulence in the air we share in understanding?
No mark.
An event that leaves no mark possible? Perhaps it appears as an illusory mark. Is it just?
An event that leaves is possible? Perhaps as an illusory mark without an event? Is it just perhaps the lack of any mark?
An event that leaves no mark, is this possible? Perhaps it appears as an illusory mark without an event. Is it just imagination? Perhaps the lack of any mark is a proof of the existence of perfection. Because perfection doesn't need an end or a beginning, and it doesn't need creating events.
An event this possible, it appears, event. Is it just?
An event leaves this possible. It appears event. Is it just proof of existence because?
An event leaves this possible. It appears as an event. Is it just the lack of any proof of existence? Because a beginning doesn't.
Right now.
Yes, now, just now. And it doesn't start, it is. It becomes and over.
Yes, now, just now, and it doesn't start, and it doesn't stop. It is. It becomes and fills up over waiting. Right now.
Yes, now, just now. And it doesn't start, and it doesn't stop. It is. It becomes and fills up over words. No waiting, right now, just now. Premium package. Yes, it could have happened.
Now, it doesn't. It over just.
Now, it stopped. Fills up. Over now. Just yes.
Now it doesn't stop. It fills up over waiting. Now, just premium. Yes, it could.
A chronology of noises, disturbances, and daydreams.
All are common symptoms of poetry. Arises and moves on, tries to meet himself with time, and anger continues. Tiny compared to the risk of his being not on time, and the tormented vision of in and in.
All are common symptoms of poetry. The old poet arises and moves on, tries. The time, passion, and anger continues. Everything is tiny risk of his being not on time, and the tormented vision of failure. Somewhere close, just around the corner, in the reflection.
All are common symptoms of poetry. The old poet arises and moves on, tries to meet himself. The struggle with time, passion, and anger continues. Everything is tiny compared to the risk of his being not on time, and the tormented vision of failure. Maybe it's soon, somewhere close, just around the corner, in the reflection of a streetlight, and maybe farther, in the sound of bells ringing in the mountains. There is progress in finding the right signs. It is tempting to think that they will arise everlastingly.
Common moves to meet the struggle, and anger compared to being.
Common poetry moves the struggle. Anger is compared to being tormented. The reflection.
Common poetry moves to meet the struggle, and anger is tiny compared to being tormented. Somewhere around the reflection, farther, sound ringing, progress will arise.
An examination of the sun's rays on the lake's surface.
Angles of incidence correspond to rebound angles. The lengths of rays, the beam often rushes to disappear, mostly.
Angles of incidence do not correspond to rebound angles. The lengths, rays are different. The beam often rushes to disappear. It lays on the surface in laziness. There is a part going on.
Angles of incidence do not correspond to rebound angles. The lengths of these rays are also different. The beam falling into the water often rushes to disappear. Mostly, however, it lays on the surface, in laziness and or contemplation, or join those who are dancing. There is a party going on, a ball happening under the water's surface.
Angles of incidence of these falling into the water in laziness, or are dancing.
Angles of incidence of falling into the water, it in laziness, or surface.
Angles of incidence of these rays are falling into the water. It lays in laziness, or are dancing. A party under the surface.